Jimmy Garoppolo out with a thumb injury out of nowhere. Does that explain some things from the Thursday night football game against the Titans? Why wasn't he pulled if he couldn't grip and throw a football? Kyle thinks he's back Wednesday. Schefter says otherwise. Let's get into it. Is it the beginning of the Trey Lance era in week 17 against those Houston Texans? That and more coming up right now.
You are Locked On 49ers, your daily San Francisco 49ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On 49ers Wednesday edition, Tuesday evening. If you're watching on YouTube, we're going to have this up tonight, Tuesday night, as we record this with some breaking news over the last couple of days here with the news of Jimmy Garoppolo's thumb injury. And to help us out to break this down as we get ready for week 17 and this playoff push that's getting a little too tight for these 49ers is our guest, just as he is every Wednesday. Let's bring him out. Mr. Nick Winkler.
Nicholas Winkler, come on.
What's up?
Wink, what's happening, my man?
Wow.
What do you think we heard about this injury to Jimmy Garoppolo's thumb? This could be it for Jimmy G now. And I guess we got to talk a little bit about where some of this came from too, right, Croc, with the Jimmy stuff, and we kind of got wind of something with some quarterback movement with the 49ers, and if they were going to be signing a quarterback, my brain went immediately to COVID. We kind of talked a little bit about COVID on yesterday's show. Oh no, COVID's going to hit the 49ers locker room. It's coming. It did hit, but just one player, Mitch Wishnowsky. I don't think he traveled all the way back to Australia and picked up COVID. I think he did stay in the States as far as I know for the holidays. Maybe not, but yeah, he is going to be, well, he's on the COVID reserve list, and the 49ers are trying out punters, but they're going to have to sign a quarterback too if Jimmy can't play. We'll learn more about it Wednesday at practice. I don't know if it's just a sprain, as Kyle Shanahan said, if the 49ers training staff disagrees with maybe another doctor. I don't know if Jimmy Garoppolo saw another specialist or something, but torn UCL and another broken bone is much different than a sprained thumb. And Kyle Shanahan talking about coming back Wednesday for Jimmy Garoppolo. But Schefter, if he's right with this UCL, an ulnar collateral ligament, that's weeks, if not months of an injury, Croc. And we kind of caught wind of something, right? I guess we can spill the beans a little bit on who might be joining the 49ers.
Right. Now, I'll never claim to have sources, although I do have an
Croc
inside
is
source.
Stuff. Come on. We knew about the Warner
told me-
signing, but sometimes you got to sit on stuff too. That's the worst part of source. Is you get information, but you can't tell anybody yet. It's like, well, I want to talk about it, but you can't talk about it quite yet. I thought for sure it was going to be COVID that just ravaged the 49ers locker room, but it turned out just one player so far, and hopefully there's nothing that pops up later in the week for the 49ers. But right now they're still pretty good on the COVID front, but Jimmy Garoppolo looking more and more like he's going to be out with this thumb injury, Croc.
Yeah, so got a message from my buddy, Greg Pinelli. He's on with me QB Mondays, and he trains this guy, Tyler Bray. And Tyler Bray hits up Greg and says, hey, like, we need to get a session in. You know, Tyler hasn't been training to like be an NFL quarterback because, you know, he thought like, well, you know, this whole season's kind of just gone by and we'll see if something picks up in the offseason. 49ers said, not so fast, Tyler Bray. We're going to bring you in right now for a workout. So that night, he actually went, trained with my guy, Greg, to get ready for this workout. But of course, my mind thinks like, why is Tyler Bray going? What has happened with the 49ers quarterback position? So like Peacock alluded to, my mind initially went to COVID and who got it or how many quarterbacks got it. But apparently, as we found out Monday, which, again, I couldn't say anything. I wanted to be like, something's going on with the 49ers quarterback position. I don't know what it is, but we're going to find out soon. Obviously, couldn't say anything, but Monday we found out it was Jimmy Garoppolo is a thumb injury. And hearing kind of conflicting reports on the severity of it.
And we'll definitely have more information on that Wednesday, but it's sounding more and more like this could be the end of the Jimmy Garoppolo era, right, Wink? And Look, if Trey Lance comes in and plays well, can you even bring Jimmy back for week 18 in the playoffs? I mean, I think the 49ers would, but man, if you get multiple weeks of Trey Lance, unless he's falling on his face, like that's it for Jimmy G, right, Wink?
Yeah, I mean, you know me, I've been one of the biggest Jimmy supporters out there, but Trey sat, he's been watching. He's been doing exactly what you want your rookies to do, and that's learn. So this kind of happens at the perfect time, right? Yeah, you want Jimmy in there. He's been solid this year. He hasn't been great, but he's done what he needs to do. But if Trey jumps in there and all of a sudden, he wins a couple games or wins enough to get you into the playoffs, and then he gets a playoff start as well, like that's experience. That's invaluable. Let's not forget about Patrick Mahomes, his rookie year. Yeah, he didn't lead them into the playoffs, but he started that final regular season game of his rookie year, and then he came back the second year, and we all know what he did then. So to me, it's ideal. I mean, this is perfect. This is a great time. You're going up a Texans squad that has not been good all year. Yeah, they've won a couple games in a row. They beat the Chargers shockingly over the weekend, but this seems like the perfect time to get Trey in there and see what you got, and hopefully Kyle is not too focused on getting Jimmy back. Like you said, he still thinks he might get him back Wednesday, but he's planning just in case he's got to start Trey Lance. He's got to be working on a game plan to set in place there at practice.
I'm getting the vibe that Kyle's just kind of putting that out there just so the Texans don't know exactly what to prepare for, because
I like that.
The most aside from Kyle saying we'll find out Wednesday and maybe he can come back to practice, aside from Kyle saying that, everything else I've heard from, internet doctors, the sports doctors that pop up and break down every injury that happens, my own research, just looking around at torn UCL injuries, and if you have surgery, and we're talking up to 6 months for an injury like this. I mean, coming back this week from it, that's unless it's very, very mild and very, very minor, it's sounding like this is going to be at least a month-long thing for Jimmy Garoppolo, and if he needs surgery, maybe even 3 months, and that could affect him, going into the off season, and whether the Niners are able to trade him if he's hurt, if he's able to come back in the playoffs. I mean, this thing gets very, very wild for the 49ers, depending on how well Trey Lance plays. And if Trey Lance plays well enough to get the 49ers in the playoffs and they win like 2 straight, and then Jimmy's healthy for the wild card game, does he come back? I mean, this is crazy. But everything I've heard, and for those who don't know, the UCL is this ligament here, and it has a lot to do with squeezing and gripping of football. So you could see why that would be difficult. And you could see why the worst pass that he threw on Thursday night was the floater over the middle that he was trying to throw to Deebo Samuel. I mean, Will Chamberlain couldn't have caught that. It was ugly and floating. And that's that was not an NFL quarterback's throw. No. Like making a mistake, missing a 40-yard pass down the field, maybe not seeing a robber safety or throwing it to a linebacker you didn't expect to be there. That's a mental error. That's a mistake that happens in a split second, but just completely missing a guy by that much and the ball floating and wobbling away, it was definitely affecting him. And that's not the quarterback you want on the field for the 49ers.
I almost feel bad for him, from the person and the competitor. And I think Jimmy Garoppolo is all of those things. And he's also had to deal with injuries. And I believe that there is a lot of bad luck when it comes to injuries. I know he's like, well, he keeps getting hurt. and in weird ways, he's a quarterback, he's taking hits. He hurt his thumb taking a hit. So it's not just the most random thing like someone running and pulling a hamstring. It's contact that is making these things happen for him. And Jimmy Garoppolo, man, coming in and kind of what he did to the 49ers fan base 2017, kind of rejuvenating the whole thing and really kind of putting life back into a fan base that was just like, man, what is going on? How are the 49ers going to turn this corner? And I just feel like every year outside of 2019 with Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback, there's always been that feeling of just being incomplete, for whether it's due to him being injured, whether it's, other guys having to start more games than you would like, CJ Beathard, Nick Mullins, and, Jimmy Garoppolo, his inability to stay healthy had a lot to do with that. It's really unfortunate though, because I think he is a good quarterback, and his injuries have not only opened the door for them to go and get a guy like Trey Lance, right? I ask you guys this question. If he was never, ever injured, do you think they would have been moving on from him?
I mean, all you got to say is 2019, right? I mean, the guy didn't get hurt that year, and he led him to a Super Bowl. I mean, you said it. you got to feel bad for the guy. He rejuvenated this franchise. We were down there for quite a few years, just dealing with nonsense, just bad football year after year. And he comes in and he changed all that. And you can understand why he didn't tell anybody maybe that he hurt his thumb, because Trey Lance is breathing out on his neck. Exactly. Like, he wants to stay in the game. He wants to keep playing. And then maybe he shows up, and he's like, I can't move my thumb. I tried. I took those 3 days off. I've been doing everything I can. And he just couldn't do it. And you got to respect that too, because we'd all do the same exact thing if our job was online, right?
All right. That's a good point. I want to hold there because I want to get back to that point and what happened actually Thursday night after the injury, if there was an opportunity to pull him out, who he told, who he didn't tell, all of those things, and Croc, some insight from you about how injuries can get worse after you sleep on them after an NFL football game or after really any football game, after a hard workout. I haven't had one of those in years, Croc. So maybe you can give us some insight on what that's like to push your body a little bit and feel it the next day or the next couple of days after that. We'll talk a little bit about Trey Lance and what to expect from him and the 49ers, the NFL community and video gamers alike. Lost a legend. Very sad. John Madden. I want to talk a little bit about Madden and the Madden game that still hasn't happened between the two gentlemen joining me on the podcast today. But first, it's the new year. So that means New Year's resolutions. If yours is about getting fit or eating healthier, make sure you include Built Bar in your plan. Built Bar is the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. Tastes so good, you'll want to eat it, unlike other protein bars, which can be chalky or waxy or taste like a chemical spill in some cases. Built Bars are covered in 100% chocolate, so you don't feel like you're missing out. You still get that real chocolate, but you also get the benefit of most bars that contain only 130 calories, only 4 grams of sugar, 4 grams of net carbs, and a whopping 17 grams of protein. So you feel satisfied. You get the best of both worlds. It's healthy for you, and it is delicious. Compare that to a candy bar where you're dropping 240 calories and 30 grams of sugar into your body. So many flavors to choose from: coconut, almond, peanut butter, brownie. You might be able to find some holiday flavors still available at built.com. If you don't know what flavor to get yourself a mixed box of Built Bars. Just go to built.com. Use promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off your order. That is promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. Gentlemen, this guy right here with his bad thumb and all, is he too tough for his own good? Did he not tell anybody about his injury? Croc, you said you would do the same thing. Wink, you said you would do the same thing. Do you think an injury like that could actually hurt the team? Do you think Jimmy Garoppolo might try to tough it out and be hurting the team at some point? Juszczyk said, and you could see in the video, I've seen people break down the video of him getting his thumb hurt, the sack that it happened on. Maybe he's telling Tom Compton about it. Do you think that Kyle Shanahan, if he knew about it in game and saw these passes floating all over the field, do you think he screwed up by not yanking Jimmy, even if Jimmy doesn't want to come out? Because I get a guy being tough. I get a player being tough, but it's up to the coach to make to put the best 11 on the field. And there's already been a lot of people who think Trey Lance should be playing anyway. Hurt Jimmy that can't grip a football. You spent 3 first-round picks on this player who's super talented. Put him in the stinking football game and don't blow the game because your quarterback can't grip a football.
Well, we know how some of these things happen, right? With the adrenaline and things like that. There's been times where I had a bad ankle injury, right? I remember one game I felt like I just came straight down on my ankle and I rolled my ankle really bad. Well, they taped it up and I stayed in the game. Now, the next morning I wake up, my ankle is like like a watermelon. It's so swollen and I could barely walk. And they had me doing all these different rehab exercises and things like that were killing me. So it's like, well, how come the next day it's swollen like an orange and I could barely walk, but I was able to finish a game and play through it. And sometimes it's just that as time goes on, the soreness, the swelling, like those things start to kick in. And maybe for Jimmy Garoppolo, it wasn't bad while he was in game, but I bet after the game, he probably started to feel it. Next morning, that was when it probably felt its worst and he knew something was wrong.
Yeah, let's not
He knew
forget
something
too.
was wrong in general.
Yeah.
He knew something was wrong when it happened. But a lot of times it's like, okay, I can play through this a little bit. But then eventually that soreness, that pain kind of kicks in.
Have you seen the conspiracy theories of him unscrewing a water bottle at the podium after the game, and that it didn't look like his thumb was hurt at all, and that maybe the team is trying to put a fake injury out there so they can play the young player because they don't want to bench
That's
him
crazy.
publicly? There's a ton of fun conspiracy theories rolling around 49ers Twitter out there. Another one about how the 49ers are just lying about injuries, and there's all kinds of stuff, which is just par for the course this year when it comes to the 49ers. And that madness started around March.
I have another source.
Oh,
all right.
Here we go. Here we go.
And
sit back.
I another source. So it was told from someone to another person, and then that person kind of just told me. And this person that told me is kind of black and white with everything, but they're buddies. They went to college together. One of these guys is he's involved with the 49ers, not a player. All right, but he's in there.
Is it Nick
all right? It's not Nick
Mullins?
Not a current player, but he's in there. I can't say because I don't want people to start guessing and stuff. Trey Lance was not practicing well. Now, so I don't know how
you went earlier in the year or
like last week.
The questions I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know those questions.
I feel like is a little convenient. Kyle Shanahan's like, oh, but Trey Lance has had the best 4 weeks of practice since he's been here. The last 4 weeks. Like,
I think he did probably start to turn it on. And when you think about what did Trey Lance need, right? If anybody kind of watched, and I said it, I know there's a lot of people that they can only go off of the things that they see in front of them, right? But you kind of got to look past that and look at like, okay, what are some of the issues that Trey Lance was going through? I thought the biggest issue with Trey Lance is that when whatever he was seeing pre-snap, when it didn't match up with that post-snap, he would play a little too sped up, and then he would be inaccurate. He'd try to rush things. He'd try to fire passes in there. I thought that's where his biggest issues stem from. Now, as the season goes on, and he's able to kind of work on some of those things, and the game starts to slow down, I assumed that he would start to get more accurate. And I think what we're seeing now is he probably knows a little bit more of where guys are going to be, what's expected of him. Maybe he's seeing the defense a little bit better. And now there's been more consistency, right? Because that was the biggest issue. People could say, oh, well, Trey Lance, he does this and that. I could show you plenty of throws that are very accurate, on time, on the money, with pace. You can show all those things, but it wasn't consistent. I think now what Kyle is telling us is finally, I don't think that he's going to be all over the place. And not to say that they wanted to rush him on the field now. I still think they would rather go with Jimmy Garoppolo at this point because there's still more or less unknown when it comes to the quarterback position. But I bet they feel a lot more comfortable having to play Trey Lance right now as opposed to earlier in the season. Because again, what I did hear was that he was inconsistent. He was all over the place. He wasn't practicing extremely well. But I didn't get to ask questions about when the timeline or what he was struggling with.
Yeah, to get back to Jimmy G again real quick, if he's hurt there in that game, yeah, he made some bad throws, but he also made some good throws too. I mean, he led that team down the field and scored a touchdown there late in that game. And if he had a broken thumb doing that, like that's really impressive for him to do that. And yeah, you're right. I do think that if they thought Trey Lance was ready and if they knew at all about that injury, they would have put him in there. So I think that if Jimmy shows up tomorrow to practice and he's there and he's able to grip a ball and throw a football and, it progresses positively throughout the week, we might see Jimmy Garoppolo again on Sunday, right?
See, toughing through it this is where you don't ask Jimmy, in my opinion. You ask the trainers.
Yeah. But it's Kyle's call, right?
Ultimately. You look at the flight of the ball. If the trainers say yes, Jimmy says, I'm good. Kudos. I get it. You're a tough guy. You want to try to play through it. That ball's fluttering in the air. You're sitting your ass on the bench. You're getting your thumb healthy, and I'm going to play my other quarterback who's super talented, right? Who shouldn't be losing you football games. But to your point, Croc, about Trey Lance earlier on in the season, and I did see some of that, with him missing some throws. We've seen Jimmy miss some throws too. So, it's not like that's the biggest red flag for him to be inaccurate on some throws. But the game plan that Kyle Shanahan came up with for Trey Lance in his start, that made me really question not so much where Trey Lance is, but where Kyle Shanahan thinks Trey Lance is, because that's not a game plan that I've ever seen Kyle Shanahan put together for a quarterback who he thinks can operate in the pocket. Because it's pocket.
I'll say this. I went back and watched because okay, Trey Lance, second game. What do I kind of expect to see? What type of improvement? Obviously, he's had this whole time and stuff. So I said, let me watch another quarterback that started off, a little inaccurate, Josh Allen, and we get that comp a lot. But I just wanted to see, like, well, what did it look like after his first start? So I just went to a random game. It was week 4, 2018, I believe, playing against the Packers. And it was probably some of the worst quarterbacking I've ever seen in my life. Like, it was so bad. And I was like, okay, Trey Lance isn't this bad. Like, even from what I saw against Arizona. So, I do think you got to take, okay, where did Trey Lance, where was he good? Where did he need to improve? I think a big part of it, again, pre-snap, post-snap, if he gets that right, I think we'll see a more improved and more accurate Trey Lance. And maybe some of what we saw from North Dakota State, which was he was pretty efficient.
Yeah, to get back to that point you mentioned there, Peacock, about the original game plan for Lance's first start, it reminded me a lot of what Denver had to do last year when their whole quarterback room got COVID and was out, and they had Patrick there at quarterback, and it's just like, I think he threw the ball 4 times or something. It's just
Hilton. What was it? Was it Hilton?
Tyler
Yeah.
Hilton. Was it
something Hilton? Yeah.
Okay, yeah, but the wide receiver that they put in there, who just basically was like, hand the ball off or run, and maybe we'll pass it a couple times, but. Yeah, they didn't have any faith in his ability to read a defense at all, and it kind of felt the same way with Trey Lance there, and hopefully that's changed. Hopefully he's had a chance. This is week 17. This is deep into a season. This kid's had a lot of time to sit there and watch Jimmy every single time, sit in the quarterback room, watch the film, do his homework, put in the work, and if he does have to start on Sunday, you just hope that it's paid off and that those pre-snap reads, if they change post-snap, that he's able to make the adjustments and move the ball down the field.
Kendall Hinton.
Oh, I never would have got that.
Yeah. But yeah. So and here's the other thing. If you're running Trey Lance 16 times, nothing personal to Tyler Bray. We don't want to see Tyler Bray out there, right? We want to see Trey Lance stay on the field. So that's what worries me most about running him 16 times in a game. And hopefully he's more ready. Hopefully they'll be able to put together a game plan to beat those Houston Texans. And by the way, it could be rookie on rookie there with Davis Mills, who's started to look pretty good and looked pretty bad for a while. And yeah, you're right, Croc. Josh Allen. And a lot of Bills fans are going around and finding old tweets about people who are saying Josh Allen was bad. And like, and the fans do that. Fans got mad at us because we were saying stuff about the 49ers going to lose against the Rams or something. And then the 49ers beat the Rams. And then the fans come strong. Like, see, I told you they're going to be great. They're going to be amazing. Like, what is the evidence that told you that? And that was what it was like with Josh Allen. It's like, look, when everyone said that Josh Allen was super raw and inaccurate coming out of Wyoming and that he was bad as a rookie, they were right. That was the correct analysis of his play. But he got better. He developed. And so a young player with all that raw talent, that's what gets you excited. And we're seeing now with there's a ton of rookies that have played this year, and so a lot of them getting better. Even the one that's looked probably the worst so far this year is Zach Wilson, and he had a nice little game, made some plays last week. It was against the Jaguars, right? Against another rookie quarterback. But these guys are young; they're going to develop, and the development path for NFL quarterbacks is not linear. We'll see how things go with Trey Lance, but I'm excited because he's too talented, and I think he's got a lot to work with, and I can't wait to see
his bad isn't as bad as a lot of these other guys. I want to make that clear because we talked about having to create an offense for him and some of the inconsistencies. But if you look at a lot of these other guys' starts,
like Fields,
there's some bad football. Fields' first game, he netted 1 passing yard,
9 sacks.
Yeah, 9 sacks. You had Mac Jones. He threw 3 picks in one game, 2 that almost went to the house, 1 that actually did go to the house. I mean, Zach Wilson, we've seen there was against the Patriots. It was the third quarter. He had 4 completions for the entire game and 4 interceptions. I mean, like, there have been some really bad quarterbacking from the rookies, but also some good and positive things. We just talked about Davis Mills and how he's gotten better. He had a game. 0 touchdown passes, 4 interceptions, and like 80 passing yards in an entire game. But then now he's picking up steam. He's getting hot. So I think a lot of it is where are the guys at? Trey Lance, I feel like, isn't nearly his starting point isn't as bad as a lot of these other guys. That Arizona game was not nearly as bad as a lot of these other guys' worst games. Can he just be better than that?
And just a better landing spot. We'd said that all
Yeah.
along. The Niners were the best landing spot for those early quarterbacks, and having Kyle Shanahan drawing up plays and having, a really solid foundation around you and talent around you is so huge. And being able to play in front of the scoreboard and in front of the sticks is big with a defense that's not putting you in a bind. So now you have to throw. So the defense knows you have to throw so they can come at you. It's just like for a young quarterback, it's just an avalanche when you've got a bad team and it's already hard enough and the speed of the game is fast. So that's also an advantage for Trey Lance, absolutely, versus some of these other rookie quarterbacks.
When Trey Lance didn't have George Kittle in that first game too, so
right, that's true. That's true.
It's a big weapon.
He did have McGlinchey in that game though. But
that's even.
I want to say that Tom Compton has turned things around. He hasn't been that bad. Tom Compton and Ambry Thomas both were solid in that last game, actually. So
better
progress. Development paths aren't linear for any position. So let's get to the loss of John Madden next. Maybe hit this mailbag a little bit. Looking ahead, though, at this Houston Texans team, they put 41 points on the Chargers last week, yet the 49ers at home still favored by 12.5 points. And you can find those odds at betonline.ag. You think the 49ers are going to win this going away by 2 touchdowns? You can put your money down on that or any other tons of props, odds, and lines. Pro football, college football playoffs coming. You've got NBA, college and pro hoops, NHL, boxing, UFC, your favorite Vegas casino games, blackjack, poker, you name it. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 and 2022 season at betonline.ag, which remains your number one spot for all the sports action this season. Head over to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today, and you can receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code LOCKEDON to receive that bonus. At BetOnline, the fastest and easiest way to bet on all of your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. John Madden. That's a sad one. That's a bummer. And it's hard to believe he hasn't called a game since 2008. I believe it was the Super Bowl in 2008 was the last time John Madden called a game with Al Michaels. And actually, the first game he ever called was a 49ers game. It was 49ers Saints, 1979, Joe Montana's rookie season.
Wow.
Unfortunately, I looked up the stats, and Joe Montana didn't have any stats in that game. But that would have been really cool to go back and watch footage of John Madden in his first game calling Joe Montana's like first touchdown pass or something like that. But it didn't quite line up. And Joe Montana didn't start a game until I think it was the last week of the season in his rookie year in 1979.
Yeah, we were pretty spoiled living in the Bay Area, though, because he would be on KCBS all the time. So we still got to hear quite a bit of Madden there. And of course, he called the catch too. So he's been there for so many Thanksgivings, playing Madden growing up. Like he played a big part in my football life. And like you said, man, that was a hard one. That hit hard. Yeah.
Summerall Madden was the tandem. Like that was my favorite. I like hearing Al Michaels. It's just, it's a big game when you hear Al Michaels' voice, same with like, even though he's a Dodgers announcer, Vince Scully's always like that for me. You hear the voice, it's like, oh, this is going to be good. And there's other announcers that do big games sometimes, but that Summerall and Madden tandem, like that was it. Just hearing those two guys. And of course, the Madden football franchise, which has been pretty important. I know we have all played that a ton. One thing that has not happened, though, and I know the listeners are thinking about it, we got to do it for John, man. We got to do it for John. The John Madden Memorial Madden contest between Eric Crocker and Nick Winkler. Nick, Croc's been ducking you for a while now. I don't know how you guys haven't been able to put this game together.
I talked a little trash, and all of a sudden he just walked away.
Man, he hasn't even talked about it.
Sure,
I get it, man. I talk a mean game. We don't even own it.
I own it. I have.
Oh, you got the new one? All right.
Yeah, what the day it came before it came out, I had it. Yeah.
Oh, look at this.
He had a bootleg copy. He's got
Madden.
Nah, this is like if you pay for a certain one, you get it like 10 days before it comes out or whatever.
Right. That'll be an off-season thing. We'll get back to that. I'll get it on sale.
I'll be ready.
Yeah, get that thing on sale.
I will not be, but I will still win.
Don't throw 40-yard bombs to Kyle Juszczyk, please.
Why not? He'll be open.
Don't feature a fullback in your offense. That's the only thing I ask from you.
I will though, so I can't
Put a
make that
fullback on the
promise.
field. Just don't feature him. Don't feature him is what I'm saying.
He'll have
Target
9
Kittle more if
catches.
you're the Niners. Target Kittle, target Ayuk, target Debo Samuel, and
I'm
don't
gonna
get
switch
Trey
him
Lance
up.
hurt. Don't even get fake Trey Lance hurt. I don't want to see him
Nah.
run the ball for you.
Kittle's gonna be in the backfield. You know, Debo's gonna be at tight end. Juszczyk will be out there at receiver. I'm gonna mix it all up.
Speaking of rookie quarterbacks, Ian Book was awful on Monday Night Football.
Ooh.
I mean, he's missing both the tackles. They're decimated on offense. Very good news for the 49ers with that Saints loss. Now a game back at 7-8. So the Niners and Eagles are the only two teams right now that are in that 6 and 7 seed at 8 and 7. So the 49ers now are back in control. They could win these last 2 games of the season, and what everybody else does won't matter anymore. And they'll be the 6th seed. And even if the Eagles won both, they would have that tiebreaker. Now things get a little bit dicey if they go 1-1, and the Saints win the last 2 games because those are against NFC teams. So then they've got that NFC record and tiebreaker on the 49ers. So still a lot to be determined here with these games, but watching the Saints, watching the Eagles this weekend, watching the Niners, whether it's Trey Lance or Jimmy Garoppolo, do you have a better feeling, a worse feeling, guys? Croc, I'll start with you. Do you have a good feeling about the Niners that they'll either go 1-1 and get some help from the other teams, or go 2-0, or do you think the Saints are just cooked because what they have at quarterback? Eagles, are they pretenders? Are they for real? Do you think they can go 2-0 against Washington and Dallas? What are your thoughts, Croc?
Well, I'm gonna kind of cop out right here and say I'm gonna take it one game at a time, man. So I'm looking at the 49ers. I do feel like the 49ers are the better team against Houston, and 49ers should beat them handily. Now the spread right now is, last I checked, it was 12.5 points. So I don't know if the 49ers will quite win by that many, but I expect the 49ers to win. Now, what does Trey Lance look like? Does he look like, he's taking the steps that we assume he's taking and that they're talking about him taking? If so, then I'll feel more confident about going out to LA. I mean, that's damn near a home game anyways, and the 49ers coming up with a W there. But it all depends on how it looks against Houston, which I expect it to look good.
You Eagles, the Saints, maybe even like the Vikings or the Falcons or one of those other teams. Do any of those teams scare you if you're the 49ers?
No, especially not the Saints. You mentioned it. They're decimated with injury. It's just all they focus on Kamara, and they got nothing else. No, you just hope that they go out and they take care of business. It's a Texan squad's coming off 2 straight wins. I think they've put up 30 against the Jaguars, the week before. So that's 71 points in 2 weeks. That's a confident football team. So, you want to get out there, and you just can't make the mistakes. We say it every single week. Don't beat yourselves. And if you go out there, you play football, Trey Lance gets out there, takes care of the football, and hopefully you get Elijah Mitchell back. That would be a huge boost to this offense. You got him and Wilson, 1-2 punch coming out of the backfield. Defense shows up. It should be a winnable football game. And the Niners own the Rams, so I'm not too worried about that.
Davis Mills, 21 of 27 last week, 254 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
Impressive.
A really good game there for the rookie. His best game yet. And you mentioned they put up some points as well on Jacksonville the week before. That was a tough one for Jacksonville. They just fired their coach, but still, like they're a team right now, the Texans, that aren't playing as bad as you thought going into the season. They'd be flat out the worst team in the league. And at 4-11, they've got a couple teams that are playing worse than them right now. And that was a surprising one against the Chargers. And look, the Chargers have a terrible run defense, and the Texans were able to take advantage of it. Rex Burkhead, 22 carries for 194 yards and 2 touchdowns. Rex Burkhead. So that's something that can happen. And I don't think that's going to happen for the 49ers. So it's going to be a lot more difficult for Davis Mills and Rex Burkhead and that entire Texans team against the 49ers. I don't see him putting 41 points up on the 49ers. So hopefully for the 49ers, they've got things right with Trey Lance or Jimmy or whoever's in there at quarterback and can put some points up. You brought up the Jaguars game the week before for the Texans. Are you guys surprised that the Jacksonville Jaguars are holding on to Trent Baalke as their GM going forward? Not an advisable move, in my opinion. I think they have an opportunity to start over there.
I think it's surprising because his track record isn't very good. With aside from landing Jim Harbaugh, but then he burned it to the ground. Then he burned the whole organization to the ground. I've never seen anything like that. Everybody talks about it and things around Colin Kaepernick and how it got so bad, but that was a mass exodus. You literally lost anybody and everybody that was important to that team. Everybody from Crabtree, Gore, Ipati, Anthony Davis, Alden Smith got cut eventually. Frank Gore. I mean, all the coaches, everybody. It was so bad, and I feel like Baalke is responsible for that. So then he goes to Jacksonville and he weasels his way in to an important role. And next thing you know, he's part of hiring Urban Meyer, and it just goes to crap from the very start, from the guys that Urban Meyer was hiring to drafting a running back first round after having a undrafted rookie free agent on that contract run for over 1,000 yards, and the mishandling the players and kicking guys. Like, Baalke, you're responsible for that. I have no idea how he weasels away and gets buddy with these owners and they keep him around.
Yeah, he must interview extremely well, because how else do you explain, looking at the guy's track record and how it ended? How would you just be like, oh yeah, this is the guy. This guy will take my franchise to the next level?
Yeah, like in those interviews, he takes credit for all the McClune picks that were really great for years while he was in the room, and he was
there. You go.
I drafted Anthony Davis in the potty. I was the first one to take those guys and turn the organization around. Could have had Dez Bryant, but I said, no, I don't want Dez Bryant.
Armstead, Buckner. 49ers did make good on some of the late Baalke picks that were looking like not as good for a while.
Ward, Tart.
I think
Armstead.
The thing that really does make sense for me for Jacksonville with Baalke, besides our biased opinions of him not being a good general manager, period, is that I think it hampers your ability to, like, it makes your pool of coaches you could bring in smaller, because there might be a coach that has an idea of a GM or doesn't want to, doesn't interview well with Baalke, doesn't like Baalke as much. And I think you would have an opportunity to bring in more of a superstar tandem of GM and coach, because you have that quarterback. And I think that's your trump card. Now you've taken away half of that pool probably because of who your GM is. And there's not that many head coach jobs. So maybe you can still get the guy you want, but I think it just lessens your odds of getting the head coach that you might want.
If I feel like that's it. It should always kind of be a package deal, unless you have a general manager who has years of success with an organization and he has something in place. And, unless you have that type of situation, I feel like the head coach and general manager should always come in together and kind of be in lockstep and have the same vision. And if one goes, you're probably going to have to get rid of the other one as well. Unless it's some weird stuff like the John Gruden thing or, something like that.
Well, even that, like, you hired that person. You didn't do your due diligence. You didn't do the background check you should have done on this person. This guy hired Urban Meyer, and look what he just did. Like, how did he keep his job? That's incredible.
Big same question. So yeah, I don't know. But Shad Khan hasn't proven to be a great person at hiring football people. So it comes from the top. A lot of teams that are bad for prolonged periods of times, it comes from ownership. So we'll see. And a lot of owners, they made their money doing something else. Like they weren't good at the football business to make all this money to own a football team. They didn't come up in the football world making football money and owned a football team. They were doing something else, and it doesn't translate clearly for a lot of guys trying to be owners.
You think they'll ever let Bezos in?
I mean, he's probably, because he's going to buy his way into so much stuff. Almost, actually, in fact, it might be a little bit of a conflict of interest if he's got like too much content on Amazon Prime TV, right? Then you can't really. Can he own a team and own a network at the same time? And is there a conflict there?
Isn't he not affiliated with Amazon anymore? Did he retire from that? I think he retired, didn't he?
Yeah, he's just an astronaut now.
I think so. That's his primary gig.
I think he divorced his wife. He's trying to cook the books a little bit.
Yeah.
No, maybe I don't even work there anymore. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, no, I don't have that job anymore. And then a couple of years later, he's like, I'm going to go back and.
Just kidding.
I'm just going to take a couple hours, just nights and weekends at Amazon. Deliver stuff, just deliver packages during the holidays. All right, last one.
Or just go to the moon in his spare time.
Boom.
Deliver packages to the moon.
There it is.
Ferocious Gentleman says, at Bay Area Wink, at BD Peacock, at Eric_Crocker, can't keep letting the young guy get this icy just to not see the field. This question was asked just before the news came down about Trey Lance potentially getting on the field. He's got a picture here of Trey Lance. He says, let's get Dr. Drip swag check on the next Winky Wednesday. So, Croc, they want your opinion on how good Trey Lance looks as a backup sitting on the bench. What's the swag report here? Let me pull up this photo if I can share this thing here. And I want you to
I got you.
tell
I'll
me
tell
how
you
you feel about this.
the pros and the cons, the do's and the don'ts, because
There
I've
we go.
seen this photo, but let's bring it up so everybody can kind of see it and we can talk through this together before we get out of here. But oh
There
man,
we go.
all right, so there is a
That's
lot.
good.
You know, obviously you see the white on white. He has the hand warmer. Sometimes it's not even like cold, but it's still like, all right, the hand warmer is just kind of an extra swag touch. I would have to see what color the hand warmer is because it looks like it has a black kind of belt buckle part.
The
So I
black
wonder,
band, yeah. But it's turned around to the back. For those people who are on the audio only pod, we've got the picture pulled up here on YouTube, and he's looking good. The lighting, I think, helps with this.
the
You know what
lighting
I like,
helps.
actually? How about the color-coded call sheet on his wristband?
Yeah.
I
Runs
like
and
that.
So
passes,
that's
right?
cool, but I don't like the black. I don't like the black call sheet, and
It
he's
should be
been
white.
wearing that one for whatever reason. It should be white. Like you
Yeah.
have on the all white uniforms, that call sheet it should be white. I
I
don't
mean,
know
it
why he
matches
has the
that
black one.
ugly black stripe on his pants, though. That shouldn't be there.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
And
you
then
know, I think
the
it's
the
smart. He's
other
bringing in
thing,
the black, and it makes you not think about why there's black for no reason on a couple of
Right.
aspects of the uniform with the weird drop shadow. So actually, I like it. Yeah,
the other part where he messed up is the tight Under Armour. Like that was cool in like 2005. Now you gotta go with the loose. You gotta go with the loose long sleeve. And he didn't go with the loose long sleeve. It doesn't
trying
have
to
to be
show his-
baggy, but just a little loose. And then he wears his like the rib protector is like humongous. He's kind of
Ginormous.
like Cam Newton with it. Maybe it's because he's expecting to run the ball more. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I feel like he can have. I don't even think Jimmy G wears a rib protector. I think he can go a little bit smaller with that, a little bit more subtle.
I mean, Croc,
But
he had 16 carries in his first start. If he's getting in, he
No,
knows
but
he's going to be
he's-
running the ball.
He could wear a little more subtle rib cage, but
All right.
overall he looks good on the field. And you can't see his cleats and everything, but he had the all red cleats. It popped. He looks good out there. He puts his uniform on well.
Got the knee
As
pads
does
not on
Jimmy
the
G.
knees.
That's an underrated part. We talk a lot about Jimmy Garoppolo's game. His quarterback swag is pretty good. I say Jimmy Garoppolo's quarterback swag is pretty. It's up there. I don't have any complaints. I think he puts his uniform on well, even with the loose kind of sleeve, but it's like cut short. I think that's a nice little touch.
all right. I'm repping my Jimmy G bobblehead here, and it might be the last opportunity. It could be the end of the
Yeah.
Jimmy Garoppolo era and the beginning of the Trey Lance era. We'll know more later on in the week. Croc and I will be chatting with Cody Davis of Locked On Texans tomorrow with our Thursday crossover pod, then our keys to victory. We're back at it again in week 17 Sunday. Texans at 49ers. Wink, appreciate you joining the show. As always,
My pleasure.
thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for making us your first listen. For your second listen, check out Croc on Locked On NFL Draft. Check me out on the Peacock and Williamson NFL show. We've got Locked On Today featuring Peter Bukowski here on the network. Locked On Bets featuring your boy Q, talking about all the betting sports world. Croc and I back tomorrow right here. Locked On 49ers.
Salute.